Apex Legends just passed 50 million players, and now we can't talk about all 50 million of them, we'd be here a while, but there are a few standouts we'll be covering today. Hi, I'm Alpha Lance with the Leaderboard, and these are the people you meet in Apex Legends. Come and get your birthday present. First up, the Titanfall Veteran. Apex Legends is set 30 years after the events of Titanfall 2, but for many, it was only yesterday, because they were probably playing Titanfall 2 just yesterday, if not this morning. Respawn's multiplayer masterpiece, the not Battle Royale one, underperformed in numbers, but has a good-sized, dedicated fanbase that's been using the Spitfire and the Longbow for years. Ever wonder how that Pathfinder you chased around the corner is somehow suddenly behind you? Well, in Titanfall 2, pilots got tactical abilities, one of which was the grappling hook. And the Titanfall Veteran is a master at many of the abilities that can be found in Apex Legends, but their title is especially visible when playing the friendly robot Pathfinder, using their tactical ability to zip around like Spider-Man to engage, disengage, and bewilder their opponents. A master of mobility, these players can pull off some sick stunts, but just hope Respawn doesn't add the gravity star to Apex Legends. I crossed Kings Canyon in 5 seconds. Speaking of, our next player is all about the internet fame, the Mimar. The Mimar is a gamer who, like all of us, is aiming for the win, but they're not like all of us because when they aim for the win, it's at the cost of their peers' respect. Well, unless they succeed, in which case they will gain all that praise and adoration back tenfold. YouTubers, streamers, and other players have already challenged themselves to win matches by using only certain weapons, no weapons, or even by doing no damage. Every day, people are coming up with more and more ways to make difficult video games even more difficult. So of course, Apex Legends is no exception. Before you know it, we're going to see footage of someone winning a match of Apex Legends using only a Guitar Hero controller. And hey, you might be in that match right now. It might be your teammate or it might be your opponent. Be wary of teammates acting erratic because you never know. You might be squatted up with a super experienced player with so many wins under their belt that they need a new challenge just to keep things interesting, like their love life. You might be on stream right now with tons of viewers watching your every action. On the other hand, you might be playing with someone who has decided they have no chance of winning in a regular match and is finding a different way to have fun while they play. If they pop off, they might be as good as our next player, the Aim God. You ever feel like someone's clip was filled with heat-seeking bullets that can bend space-time and find your head? Well, then you fought the Aim God. To sum this player up, all Aim Gods are good players, but not all good players are Aim Gods. Especially deadly with weapons like the Wingman and the G7 Scout, the Aim God can even make the Mozambique seem dangerous. Just imagine what happens when they get their hands on a Kraber. You may see the Aim God, but if they're in your match, you'll most likely hear about them first. Whether they're your match's champion or they quickly grab the kill leader title, you'll probably see their name up on the billboard. This player worked hard to get to this level of skill. They may be a Titanfall veteran who has tons of experience with most of the guns found in Apex Legends, or just a general shooter veteran. If you ever cross the Aim God on the battlefield, don't go starting an uprising, just take a deep breath, collect yourself. You were just at 2 different skill levels, and that's okay. And now, when you go into your next match, you'll know they're too busy in your previous match to queue up again with you. You'll be safe. For now, until you find another one. Good luck. But hey, maybe in the next match you'll meet the new best friend. Like in any game, there are plenty of horrible teammates. We've all met them. Horrible at taking out enemies, horrible at sticking together, horrible at sharing, etc., etc. Every now and then, though, you cross a player that you immediately gel with. Maybe they have a mic and cracked a funny joke, or maybe they picked a legend who synergizes really well with yours. Or maybe they just took your suggestion of where to land. I'm not going to tell you how you make your friends. The new best friend, in short, is a player that you have had the best time playing with. They're easy to identify. If you're wondering if you've encountered a new best friend, well, just listen to what your heart is telling you. You can't force fun. Believe me, I've tried. Mics can play a big factor in this. We are social creatures after all, and talking to a person is the easiest way to make a connection.
We got this, mate.
Where you from, mate?
London, mate.
Maybe they're supportive, maybe they're funny, or maybe their voice is just really nice to listen to. Whatever the reason, you're probably breathing a sigh of relief that they're on your team. While it's more common, they can even be someone on the opposing squad. Mercy can be rare on the battlefield, but the new best friend can be someone who decided to spare you, or let you have your glorious moments, like getting a care package kill, or let you use that gold shield to get up one more time. I know if I ever got one, I'd want to use it. There are plenty of nice people in Apex Legends, and while sometimes you'll be like ships in the night, you might get a friend request or two that'll make you quote stepbrothers.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
But not all players are looking for their perfect match. They say one is the loneliest number, that is, unless you're the solo, aka the I in team. On the opposite end of the spectrum, while you were looking for the perfect squad mate, this player already found theirs, themselves. One of the polarizing choices of Respawn in Apex Legends is that your only option is 3-man squads. Some love having the backup, the synergy, and only having to deal with 19 squads compared to 59 separate opponents. But some players are holding out for the day they add a true solo queue. Until then, this player is going out on their own whether you follow them or not. Now, there's nothing wrong with taking charge. You don't need to blindly follow some stranger, especially if they're making a bad call. That's a totally different thing. What defines the solo is when they truly pay no mind to their teammates. Jumping solo, taking all the best loot, not pinging at all, then going in a direction all while not saying a word to their teammates. Respawn has done an excellent job making communication without a mic much easier. So you have to be really trying to stay silent. You'll have to decide if you want to let the solo run off alone or follow them into battle, even if they reluctantly have someone behind them. Sometimes the solo can also be the aim god. Their attitude a boycott of their high skill. They know they don't need you. So you can hop on their back and get carried, but be cautious, because sometimes it's not that they're just a bad teammate, they're a bad player too. And sometimes you find out too late. Player stats aren't always a surefire way to assess skill, like our next player, the main, or bust. We've all been there. The match starts up, you're third to pick legend, and the player on first insta-locked into a character so quickly you're sure their mouse left a trail of fire behind it. Then when you go on to the next page of stats, you'll typically see a decked out card with badges, high stat trackers, and an animated pose. Their legend is equipped with a glorious skin, and when they play, they are a machine. With Wraith, that is. Game 2 comes and someone else is on first and snags Wraith. Suddenly, the main slows down and picks more hesitantly. The stat page comes up and you see a gray card with a simple level badge and a few stat trackers with low numbers. It feels like the difference between a regal lion on the savannah and your friend's cat. See, both are predators, and believe me, I don't want to piss off either of them, but one gives a much bigger fear factor. Now see, in hero shooters, it makes sense to have a main, especially if you find out one has abilities that strongly complement your playstyle. But with a 1 legend limit, Apex Legends is a game where it's better to have 2 legends you can swap back and forth between. Whenever you see someone's card come up and it's decked out in high stats, just remember that's probably because they play that hero a lot, if not all of the time. Though that's not to say they might also just be that good too, just saying. On the other hand, if one of your teammates shows up with fairly low stats, maybe give them the benefit of the doubt. They might be trying out someone new. Apex Legends is all about choices, like which hero should I play, where are we dropping, what gun should I take? But for some, that decision gets a lot harder, like our next player. The Hoarder, for those who believe the looting phase never ends. Battle Royale games have 3 major phases in every match. The first phase of each map is the race for gear. You and your squad try to reach the ground and grab guns as quickly as possible, eliminating enemies while they scramble for equipment. While skill is involved, this phase has a lot to do with luck, as you hope to find a better gun than your opponent and take them out with your limited ammunition or your fisticuffs. The second phase is a survival game. After the dust has settled, the remaining players traverse about the map, moving from defensible position to defensible position, taking out enemy squads along the way. Phase 3 is the end game of every match. In Apex Legends, you lose player count once you get down to the final 4 squads, and most of the map is no longer available anymore. You have to play much more cautiously and stay on your toes. By phase 3, every player should be fully kitted out with ammunition, health items, and armor. And you should not be checking death crates to see if they have a better stock for your assault rifle, Adrian. The Hoarder can be spotted falling behind their squad, checking every chest and death box for a, quote, better gun, or that one attachment. It makes sense to take a look at a, say, gold crate, or even maybe a purple if you have time, and if you're in a safe place, but know that you can still at least strafe while opening the inventory by moving your character slightly. If you feel your pockets too many shinies though, you just become a loot pinata for the enemies. It's great to spot the Hoarder on the enemy team, as it kind of almost feels like a free kill when they're checking a death box. Though if they're on your team, just try to keep them alive, I guess. Next on our list, we'd like to pay tribute to the strong, silent player, the Mime. Now, typically the mime is a player you'll only find on your team. See, you'll come across characters who are mute, silent players who don't interact with you, like the solo. But the mime is a powerful ally and a strong team player who will help you out best they can, but also never saying a word. The mime takes full advantage of Apex's brilliant ping system to communicate everything they'd ever need to get a mic for, and then some. They know how to request ammo types, to let out a warning if they find traces of nearby players, and that they're on their way to recover your banner if you fall. Serious 10 out of 10 teamwork. There are plenty of reasons a player might decide to stay off mic. Perhaps they've had teammates react negatively to the sound of their voice and don't want to risk being bullied. Maybe they don't have a working microphone at the moment. Hell, maybe you're playing with someone super famous who's worried that if they talk to you, you'll recognize them immediately. Or they just don't want to talk. You'll never know. But since actions speak louder than words anyways, let those help you decide if they're a good teammate or not, yeah? The mime on your team might turn out to be the aim god, or they might turn out to be the new best friend. Sure, they might turn out to be very antisocial and reveal themselves to be the solo. But that's a risk you'll just have to take. And sometimes, taking risks is what this game is all about, too. The thrill seeker. To some players, where we drop in isn't really even a question. If they aren't the jump master, they'll likely ping for the supply ship, the hot zone, or immediately straight down. The real question is, where are most players going? If they played PUBG, they were a school dropout, and then if they switched over to Fortnite, they're the kind of player to glide down to tilted towers every time. There is a sort of true bravery or foolishness in players that head towards gunshots, the ones that race to care packages as they're coming down. It may not always pay off for them, but they don't freeze up when the fighting starts like so many of us do in battle royales. They are experts at combat, or rather, they're experts at dying. So they're getting really good at not dying, slowly but surely. If you find one of these players on your team and you're not ready for a wild ride, pray they aren't your jump master. You could probably learn a thing or two from them though. I mean, worst case scenario, we just go back to the main menu and try again with different players. At least in Apex, when the supply ship is too hot, you can jump off for a different location. And last, but certainly not least, the Snap Crackle Pop, aka the player that tried to communicate. You know the player, the one who tries to talk to you, but all you hear is like an eldritch monstrosity trying to reach through the netherworld into our dimension through your headset. Hopefully with Apex Legends' popularity, EA will finally give Respawn a better audio codec so player communication through Origin is easier and clearer, because who knows who you'll actually be able to understand. And in all seriousness, Origin needs like a major update. Can I at least try to send friend requests to cool people I had recently?
It's hard to knock someone for trying to communicate, but if you can't understand them, it's pretty hard to tell if they're actually trying to be helpful. I once had a teammate with a hot mic who I'm pretty sure was just trying to sell me his mixtape because he was blasting it on the open mic until I left the match. That's also the day I found out that Apex Legends does have a mute function for players, but it's really hard to find because it's buried deep in the menus. But like that song from your childhood you only remember one line of, if you dig long enough, you'll find it.
The other advantage of the ping system is that when you realize you can't talk to your teammates, you still have a pretty good backup system in place. In the end, there really isn't any reason you can't at least try to work with your teammates. Try the communication thing, guys. Most people are good, some people still need to learn. We're all in here to have fun. Well, that's all for now. There are so many people you're going to meet playing this game, and as the game evolves, more and more tropes are going to start to appear. So, who have you been seeing in your matches? Tell us more in the comments below. I'm your host, Alpha Lance with The Leaderboard, and don't forget to subscribe to The Leaderboard, your home for video game facts.